4 creepy, true dead of night horror stories. Story 1, The Watcher in the Woods. I never believed in gut feelings until the night I ignored mine. It was 2018, late October. I'd just moved into a rental house on the edge of Briarwood Forest, about 30 miles outside Portland. The rent was cheap, $750 a month for a 2-bedroom. The landlord said the previous tenant left suddenly, should have asked more questions. The first week was normal, quiet, too quiet maybe. No neighbors for half a mile in either direction, just trees, endless trees that seemed to swallow sound. On the 8th night, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. My bedroom faced the woods, and I always kept the curtains open because I liked seeing the stars. But that night, something was different. I felt it before I saw it. There was a shape between the trees, tall, impossibly still. I told myself it was a deer, maybe a shadow from the moonlight, but it didn't move like either of those things. It just stood there, watching. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it through the window. The beam barely reached the tree line, but for just a second, I saw something reflect back, like eyes, but too high up, maybe 7 feet off the ground. Then it was gone. I locked every door and window, checked them twice, turned on all the lights, didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next evening, I mentioned it to my coworker, Travis. He got this weird look on his face, said his cousin used to live out that way, had similar experiences. People standing at the edge of properties, just watching, never coming closer, never leaving when spotted, just observing. That night, I kept the curtains closed. Around 2 a.m., I heard something outside, footsteps on the gravel driveway, slow, deliberate, circling the house. I called 911, told them someone was prowling around my property. The dispatcher said a deputy would be there in 20 minutes. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. The footsteps stopped right outside my bedroom window. I could hear breathing, heavy, ragged, like someone had been running. Then a sound I'll never forget, fingers dragging across the window screen, slow, methodical, back and forth. I grabbed the baseball bat from my closet and stood in the corner, phone in one hand, bat in the other. The scratching continued for maybe 2 minutes, then stopped. When the deputy arrived 23 minutes later, he searched the property, found footprints in the dirt beneath my window, bare footprints, size 13 or 14, but they just stopped, didn't lead anywhere, just appeared beneath the window and vanished. The deputy took photos, filed a report, told me to call if anything else happened. As he was leaving, he paused at his car, looked at the woods for a long moment. Then he said something I think about every day. My partner worked a missing person case out here 5 years ago. Hiker. They found his campsite but never found him. His journal mentioned someone watching him from the trees 3 nights in a row. On the 4th night, nothing. Just an empty tent and his belongings. Whatever's in those woods, it's patient. I should have moved that night, but I convinced myself it was random, an isolated incident. Told myself the deputy was just trying to scare me. 2 nights later, it happened again. 3 a.m., footsteps. But this time, they didn't circle the house. They walked straight to my bedroom window and stopped. I didn't turn on the light, didn't make a sound, just sat in my bed, frozen, listening. The scratching started again, but different this time. Not fingers on the screen, something harder, like nails on glass. Then I heard it, a voice, low, barely a whisper. "I know you're awake." My blood went cold. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I've been watching, every night. You sleep with your mouth open. That detail, that specific, invasive detail, it meant this thing had been inside, or close enough to see through the window while I slept. The voice continued. "You leave the back door unlocked sometimes. When you take the trash out, you forget to lock it." It was right. 3 nights ago, I'd forgotten. Realized it an hour later and locked it. But for that hour, I called 911 again. This time, 2 deputies came. They found the same footprints, but also something else. Scratch marks on my window, deep ones, like something had been trying to claw through the glass. One deputy, an older guy named Morrison, pulled me aside. He asked how long I'd been there. When I told him 10 days, he shook his head. The longest anyone stayed in this house is 3 weeks, 6 tenants in 4 years. They all reported the same thing. Someone watching, someone waiting. We've never caught anyone. Never found evidence of who it is. But every tenant leaves in the middle of the night eventually. Just grabs their essentials and runs. I asked why the landlord kept renting it. Morrison said the land had been in the owner's family for generations. He refused to believe anything was wrong with it. Refused to sell. I packed that night, grabbed my clothes, my laptop, anything essential, left the furniture, left the deposit. I slept in my car at a rest stop 50 miles away. But here's what keeps me awake now, 2 years later. Last month, I got a message on Facebook from someone I didn't know. No profile picture. The message just said, "You shouldn't have left. I wasn't finished watching." The account was created the day after I moved out of that house. It's been inactive ever since, until that message. I reported it to the police. They couldn't trace it. Whoever it is, they're still out there, still watching someone. And I think about the new tenant who moved in after me. I think about them waking up at 3 a.m., hearing footsteps, hearing that voice. I hope they ran faster than I did. Story 2, the night shift. The office building was supposed to be empty after 9 p.m. That's what they told me when I took the night security job. It was January 2020, right before the world shut down. I needed the money, $12 an hour to walk around an empty building, check doors, watch camera feeds. Easy. The building was downtown, 8 stories, mostly tech companies and accounting firms. My shift was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. First week was fine, quiet, boring, even. I'd do my rounds every hour, check all the floors, then sit at the security desk and watch Netflix. Second week, things changed. It started on Monday night. Around 1:30 a.m., I was doing my rounds on the 5th floor. That's when I heard it, typing, the distinct click-clack of someone working on a keyboard. I stopped walking, listened. It was coming from one of the offices down the hall, room 512. I knocked on the door. "Security. Anyone in there?" The typing stopped. Silence. I tried the door. Locked. Used my master key and opened it. Empty. Desk was clean. Computer was off, but the chair was still spinning slightly, like someone had just stood up. I checked under the desk. In the closet. Nothing. Told myself I imagined it. Stress. Lack of sleep. Something. The next night, it happened again. Same floor. Same time. 1:30 a.m. But this time, it was room 515. Same thing. Typing stops when I knock. Door locked. Room empty. Chair spinning. Third night, I heard it in 3 different offices. 512, 515, and 509. All within 10 minutes. All stopping the moment I approached. I checked the camera feeds. All the hallways were empty. Just me walking around, looking confused. But the cameras don't cover inside the offices. Just the hallways and stairwells. I called my supervisor, Dave, told him what was happening. He laughed, said the building was old, sounds carried weird, probably just the heating system, but I could hear the doubt in his voice. On Thursday, I arrived for my shift and Dave was there, said he wanted to do the rounds with me, see what I was talking about. We waited. 1:30 a.m. rolled around. We were standing on the 5th floor, right in the middle of the hallway. Then it started. Room 512, clear as day, someone typing, fast, urgent. Dave's face went pale. We walked to the door together. He knocked. The typing continued. Didn't stop this time. He used his key. Opened the door fast, like he was trying to catch someone. Empty, but the typing sound was still going. Inside the room, we could both hear it. like it was coming from the desk, but there was nothing there. No computer, no keyboard, nothing. Then it stopped. Just stopped. And the room felt different, colder, wrong. Dave told me to pack up, said he'd cover the rest of my shift. He looked shaken, more scared than I'd ever seen anyone. The next day, I got a call from the building management company. They were terminating my position. Budget cuts, they said. Very sorry. 2-week severance. I knew it was because of what happened. Dave must have reported it. But here's the thing that haunts me. Before I left, I did some research on the building. Turns out, 3 years ago, there was an incident on the 5th floor. A programmer named Sarah Chen was working late, really late. She was on a deadline, trying to finish a project. She had a heart attack at her desk, 1:30 a.m., died alone. Wasn't found until the next morning when her coworkers arrived. Her office was 512. After she died, 2 other employees reported hearing typing late at night on that floor. Both quit within a month. The company moved out 6 months later. I looked up the other offices I heard typing in, 515 and 509. They were empty now, but 3 years ago they belonged to Sarah's team members, the people who found her. Sometimes I wonder if she's still there, still trying to finish that project, still working through the night, not knowing she's been gone for 3 years. Or maybe she knows exactly what happened, and she's angry that no one was there to help her, that she died alone, at her desk, while the security guard walked right past her office. I don't do night shifts anymore. Can't. Every time I'm alone in a building after dark, I hear it, that clicking, that typing, and I wonder who's still working, who's still at their desk, who's still trying to finish just one more thing before they go home. Story 3. The Hiker. My brother disappeared on the Appalachian Trail in 2019. They never found his body. His name was Marcus. He was 28, experienced hiker, always prepared. He'd done sections of the trail before, but that summer he wanted to do a through hike, Maine to Georgia. 6 months in the wilderness. We talked on the phone every few days when he had service. He'd send photos, updates. Everything seemed fine. Until week 7. He called me from somewhere in Virginia. His voice was different, shaky. Said he needed to tell someone what was happening in case something went wrong. For the past 3 days, he'd seen the same person on the trail. A man in his 50s, maybe, wearing normal hiking gear. Nothing weird about him except he was always ahead of Marcus. See, Marcus would wake up at 6 a.m., pack his camp, start hiking. Around noon, he'd see this guy, always at least a mile ahead, just turning a corner or cresting a hill. Marcus would hike for 8 hours, cover maybe 15 miles, set up camp around 7 p.m., and the next morning, when he started hiking again, there the guy would be, a mile ahead, same spot, like he'd never moved. Marcus tried catching up to him once, pushed himself, hiked hard for 2 hours straight, but the distance never changed. The guy stayed exactly 1 mile ahead. On the 3rd day, Marcus tried something different. He stayed in camp until noon, figured he'd let the guy get way ahead, wouldn't see him anymore. But when he started hiking at noon, there the guy was, 1 mile ahead. Impossible. Marcus said he was going to hike to the next town, take a few days off. Maybe the guy would pass him by. We agreed he'd call me when he got there. He never called. 3 days later, I filed a missing person report. Search and rescue found his campsite. Tent was still set up, sleeping bag was inside. His pack, his food, his phone, all there. But no Marcus. What they did find were footprints. 2 sets. Marcus's boots, and another set. Bare feet, large, leading away from the camp into the woods. But here's what didn't make sense. The bare footprints approached the camp from every direction. Dozens of tracks, circling the tent, like someone had walked around it over and over. But there was only 1 set of bare prints leaving, and 1 set of Marcus's boot prints following them. Like he got up in the middle of the night and walked into the woods, following someone. They searched for 2 weeks, brought in dogs, helicopters, volunteers, nothing. Marcus vanished. 6 months later, I got a package, no return address. Inside was Marcus's journal. The last entry was from the night he disappeared. It said, "He's at my camp, standing outside the tent. I can see his shadow. He's been there for an hour, not moving, not making sound. I don't know what to do." If you're reading this, don't follow the hikers who don't cast shadows. I took the journal to the police. They said it could be a hoax, someone messing with me, but the handwriting was Marcus's. I'd know it anywhere. Last year, I met another hiker online. She'd done the same section of trail in 2020. She mentioned something strange. A man who was always ahead of her, always exactly 1 mile. She said she got spooked and left the trail early. She's alive. She didn't follow him. I think about Marcus every day, about what he saw, what he followed, and I wonder if he's still out there, somewhere in those woods, still hiking, still following that man who stays 1 mile ahead, still walking deeper and deeper into places people aren't supposed to go. Story 4. The Knock. I'll never open my door without checking the peephole again, not after what happened last March. I live alone in a second-floor apartment in Cincinnati. Quiet building, mostly young professionals. We all keep to ourselves. It was a Friday night, around 11 p.m. I was watching TV when I heard the knock. 3 taps. Slow, deliberate. I wasn't expecting anyone. Looked through the peephole. Nobody there. Figured it was kids messing around. Went back to the couch. 5 minutes later, 3 more knocks. Same pattern, same rhythm. Checked the peephole again. Nothing. But this time, I opened the door. Looked up and down the hallway. Empty. All the other apartment doors were closed. No sound. No movement. I was about to close my door when I noticed something. Wet footprints on the carpet, leading from the stairwell to my door. And they didn't stop at my door. They kept going, down the hall, to the utility closet at the end. The closet door was slightly open. It's always locked. I should have called the police. Should have gone back inside. Instead, I walked toward it. The footprints were strange. Too long. Size 15 at least. And the water, it wasn't water. Too dark. Almost black. I stopped about 10 feet from the closet. Called out, "I'm calling the cops. You need to leave." The door opened wider. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone was pulling it from inside. But I couldn't see anyone. Just darkness. Just that open door. Then I heard breathing. Heavy. Wet. Like someone had been underwater. I ran back to my apartment. Slammed the door. Locked it. Called 911. Police came 20 minutes later. They checked the closet. Empty. Checked the whole floor. Nothing. But they saw the footprints. Took photos. Said they'd follow up. The building manager came the next day. Said the utility closet had been locked all week. No one had the key except maintenance, and they hadn't been there. But those footprints were real. The police photos proved it. Here's what I found out later. 3 years ago, a tenant drowned in their bathtub on the first floor. Fell asleep in the bath. Slipped under the water. Wasn't found for 2 days. His apartment was directly below mine. Every tenant who's lived in my apartment since then has reported the same thing. Knocks at 11 p.m. Footprints leading to the closet. Some moved out immediately. Others stayed. I stayed. But now, sometimes late at night, I hear water running in the walls. And I smell it. Chlorine. Like a pool, even though there's no pool in the building. Last week, I heard the knock again. 3 taps. Slow. Deliberate. I didn't check the peephole this time. Didn't open the door. Just sat on my couch, frozen, waiting for it to stop. But it didn't stop. It kept going. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. For 45 minutes. Then silence. In the morning, I checked the hallway. The footprints were back. But this time, they didn't just lead to the closet. They led to my door. And underneath, into my apartment. Wet tracks across my living room floor, to my bathroom, stopping at the bathtub. I'm moving next week. Already found a new place, but I keep thinking about whoever moves in after me, about that knock they'll hear at 11 p.m., about the footprints they'll follow, about what's waiting in the dark.